सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सत्प्रत्ययाः किं नु विहाय सन्तम् हृद्येष चिन्तारहितो हृदाख्यः कथं स्मरामस्तममेयमेकम् तस्य स्मृतिस्तत्र दृढैव निष्ठा मृत्युञ्जयं मृत्युभियाश्रितानाम् अहं मतिर्मृत्युमुपैति पूर्वम् अथ स्वभावादमृतेषु तेषु कथं पुनर्मृत्युधियोऽवकाशः सर्वैर्निदानं जगतोऽहमश्च वाच्यः प्रभुः कश्चिदपारशक्तिः चित्रेऽत्र लोक्यं च विलोकिता च पटः प्रकाशोऽप्यभवत् स एकः आरभ्यते जीवजगत्परात्म तत्त्वाभिधानेन मतं समस्तम् इदं त्रयं यावदहं मतिः स्यात् सर्वोत्तमाहं मतिशून्यं निष्ठा सत्यं मृषा वा चिदिदं जडं वा दुःखं सुखं वेति मुधा विवादः अदृष्टलोका निरहं प्रतीतिः निष्ठा विकल्पा परमाखिलेष्टा We have been looking at this verse. Satyam Rishava Chididam Jadamba. All the people, various kinds of philosophers, offering their ideas about what the world is, what Ishvara is, Brahman is, and what the I is. And here, this is very reminiscent, I said, of Gaudapadacharya's Karika for the Mandukya Upanishad, where he talks about this very thing and he makes a mention about it in the first book itself. In the first book, Agama Prakarana, he makes a mention of it in verses 8 and 9. And then later he develops this idea in book 4, which is Alata Shanti Prakarana. And I gave the example, Alata Shanti, Alata, a very thick, fat incense stick, which conjures up when you move with the incense stick or when you move the hand with holding the incense stick, it conjures up a whole universe. So in this example alone, I mean, it's not, it's not broadly speaking, but in this example, the firmament, the dark sky where you are projecting this universe made of this one tip of light is the adhisthana. In this example alone, it is the screen upon which, it is the sat upon which this apara shakti, this Bhagavan, this Brahman endowed with the status of being Bhagavan, gets to do its magic. That is the idea. And so, because if we make the, if we extend this analogy and say darkness is adhisthana, then we will be in some kind of, hot water of sorts. We will be, digging ourselves a big hole. Why? Because, when we really look into darkness, it is not there, because that which is opposed to light is darkness. So darkness is not an entity. It is something that is opposed. It's the opposite of light, in the sense that wherever there is light, there can be no darkness. And so that which is banished by light, you cannot say it is an entity in itself. So that is basically, that becomes this thing becomes the bread and butter for all Vedanta talks, because they will use this particular analogy, which is very, dear even to Adi Shankara. Tamah prakashavad viruddha swabhavatvad. He keeps saying like this, like light and darkness, that the two are, they cannot occupy the same place at the same time. Light you can see, darkness you cannot even see. It is inferred through certain other things. And so we don't talk of darkness as an absence, but more as an opposition. And so usually darkness is tamas, ajnanam. And then jnanam, just like light and darkness, jnanam displaces ajnanam, because similarly, atma ajnanam and jnanam are similarly opposed, like even light and darkness. Okay. So in this Alata Shanti, we see this whole thing. And suppose now we take the Alata Shanti example. And what do? We write various things. We write the whole universe is just nature, prakriti. We write that. That becomes a philosophy. Somebody's PhD thesis is being written with the end of the incense stick. Okay. And then somebody else puts a big cross on what was just written, and they write their own thing. And what do they write? No, no, no. The whole world is inert. And then what? Then somebody else writes the whole world is dukkha, sorrow. And like this, all these disagreements are happening on which adhisthana. That is what we need to look into, not these disagreements. This is what the idea is. And so let us look at, just let us have a little look at a couple of these verses, and then we can understand this better. Yeah, here is one of them, two of them. Yeah, this is Mandukya Karika, book 1, verse 7. And what does it say? Maybe verse 6 is also pertinent. Let me just bring that up. Hang on. Let us look at this one. Okay. विभूतिं प्रसवं त्वन्ये मन्यन्ते सृष्टिचिन्तकाः स्वप्नमायः स्वरूपेति सृष्टिरन्ये अन्यैर्विकल्पिता. So this is this is all these philosophers considering. What do they consider? They consider this vibhutim prasavam. The creation is a vibhuti, a glory of the Lord. While certain others say, no, 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 the creation is a magic. It's like your dream. Then further, ichha matram prabho srishtihi इति सृष्टौ विनिश्चिताः कालात् प्रसूतिं भूतानां मन्यन्ते कालचिन्तकाः. So here, in verse number 7, we had Srishti Chintakaha. Srishti Chintakaha means Chintakaha means doesn't mean thinkers. It means people who are committed to Srishti, being the cause of the whole, and Srishti being inert. So this is like a little dig against the Sankhya philosophy. And then, trolling the Sankhya philosophy. Then Ichha Matram Prabhoho Srishti. This is Dvaitavada. And so the Srishti has come because of the will of the Lord. And then so these are what? Kala Chintakaha. Because here they are Kala Chintakaha means they are, they determine everything. Um, how to say this? They determine everything as an act of God. And of course, the God they perceive is different than themselves. And so, even to drink a glass of water, they look at the horoscope. Is this a good idea to drink this glass of water now? What kind of things might happen? Oh no, I think I did not look at the correct muhurta to drink this glass of water. Now something bad will happen. Iti. This is, these are the kinds of, people who are they are called Kala Chintakaha. They have a commitment to, what is that called? They have a great commitment, some kind of a commitment to astrology and forces, all these devatas and various forces. So here are, these two. So then this is verse number 7 and 8, and it continues in verse number 9. One more verse. Bhogartham srishtirityanye क्रीडार्थमिति चापरे देवस्यैष स्वभावोऽयम् आप्तकामस्य का स्पृहा. So here some people say the creation is for the enjoyment of the Lord, as though Lord has nothing better to do. Okay. And then others say the creation is because the Lord wants to play. Kridartham. And then some others say, what rubbish, what desire is possible for the ever fulfilled Lord? The creation is but a nature of the Lord. So, like this, various contentions are at play here, and they are never ending contentions. If we start looking at them, then what will happen? We will get a headache. That is what will happen. Nothing else will happen. You will get a big headache, and then you will just get very, very frustrated. And so this is this is basically the first book. In the first book, he talks about it like this. And in the fourth book also, there are a couple of verses that are that are very interesting. And so then let me see which one it is. Yeah, this is book 4, Alata Shanti Prakaranam, verse number 3. Bhutasya jakimicchanti vadinah केचिदेव हि अभूतस्य परे धीराः विवदन्तः परस्परम्. Parasparam vivadantah means fighting with each other, disputing, arguing mutually. So what do these arguers say? Some say that that which is existent, like the Atma, for instance, Atma is born. That's what they posit. Happy birthday to Atma. I mean, if your name is Atma, then it's a different matter. But otherwise, happy birthday to Atma means what? Yeah, this is a problem. Okay. And so some people think that the Atma is born. And then what do the other people think? The other people, not to be left behind, say, no, no, Shunya is what is born. Shunya means what? Non-existent. Non-existent can be born. Yeah, can it be born? So happy birthday to you, non-existent one. Actually, when you say one, then you're talking of existence alone. You cannot even fathom this. If the non-existent is born. This is the Nayayikas. Because they even have four kinds of non-existences. This was very funny to me. I mean, even one kind of non-existence you don't have much to talk about because it is non-existent. But then they say that there are four kinds of non-existences. So, what do you mean by four kind of non-existences? Well, take for example the pot. So the first moment before the birth of the pot is a particular kind of non-existent of the pot. Okay. And then this is what gives the headache because this is not yet over. Then let's say you crash the pot, when it first becomes a cracked pot and then a crashed pot. And then after that, the last moment, the first moment of the non-existence of the pot. But then what's the difference between the non-existence before and the non-existence after? No, 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 no. There is a big difference. That is prior non-existence. And this is posterior non-existence. And then as you're scratching your head, then they say, okay, we have covered two forms of non-existences. Two more are left. What? Two more are left? Yes. One is called mutual non-existence. What is mutual non-existence? When two non-existent things lean on one another, it is called. You have to talk and say all this with a straight face, okay? Because these are all celebrated scholars. They are not roadside riffraff coming up with some ideas after having too much to drink. These are celebrated scholars. This is not the blabberings of somebody who is, under anesthesia or some spirit. No, these are all people who have thought this all out. And so they're coming with four. So the third kind of non-existence is when two non-existences lean on one another. So how can you lean on something non-existent? And then on top of that, how can a non-existent thing lean on another non-existent thing? They will have a lot of ideas about that. Okay, all right. Let's just get this over with. What is the last form of non-existence? Any ideas? I mean, what have they not covered? Well, they will say there is absolute non-existent. Atyanta abhava. Atyanta abhava means there is just absolutely non-existent. But what about these? These other words were kind of non-existent. No. Those are all prior non-existence, posterior non-existence, pre-non-existence, post-non-existence, mutual non-existence, and absolute non-existence. And after this, you're absolutely batty after hearing this. And then as you are thinking about this, then so then this one says, Gaudapadacharya says, they keep on writing theses of non-existences. And then let's say, what else does he say? Bhutan na jayate kinchit abhutam naiva jayate vivadanto dvayahyevam ajatim khyapayantite. Ajatim khyapayantite. Khypayanti means they posit, they reveal. So then he says, that there is no reason to panic. When they keep fighting about this, there is no reason to panic. Just think that they are making life easy for us. How are they making life easy for us? For us Vedantins, they are making it easy because they are saying that, they are saying that the existent is not born, the non-existent is not born. Like this, they keep saying. And let's just take those parts of it. And when they keep fighting about it, they reveal birthlessness indeed. They reveal birthlessness indeed. Indeed, they reveal birthlessness. And then Sometimes they say no, non-existence is born. Then what, Well, give them the space. They keep saying the birth of the birthless reality, and then they keep saying the birthless reality, how can it be subject to mortality? And so this transformation of the one's intrinsic nature is not possible. Let them keep arguing. Let them keep arguing. And why should we worry about this? Let them keep arguing whatever they want to argue, and there is enough space for them to be. There is enough space for them to be, because they are not on the same par as what we have to say. What our business is, he's going to say later, what our business is merely to reveal, we are not trying to jump into the fray. We are not trying to talk about the because despite whatever they are saying, he says na bhavati amritam martyam. Just because they are saying everything is mortal and everything is finite. Some disputants say this, some philosophers posit this. But just use your logic. Can the immortal become mortal? No. Na martyam amritam tatha. In the same way, that which is finite can never become infinite. Prakritehe anyatha bhavah na kaschid bhavishyati. That which is intrinsic to one's nature will not change, will never ever change. And so that is not something that is going to change at all. And so we need not be worried. We need not be worried about whatever they are saying. Let them enjoy. Let them say anything at all. And what do? We just watch. We wait and we watch. And he calls Vedanta Asparsha Yoga. Asparsha Yoga means that which cannot be touched. It is not, you cannot touch it. You cannot argue with it. Because really, I mean, how can you argue with Vedanta? You can argue with anything but not Vedanta, really. You are the whole. No, I refuse to say I am the whole. You are going to look really bad when you say that. You are infinite. No. Well, you are the loser if you say that. You are wonderful. No, I am not. All right. You can't argue with Vedanta. It is not a theology, even though to make up for decades of erasure in the academy, now they are taking to calling Hindu theology and Vedanta as a theology, because otherwise it's not taken seriously. But still, it's not really speaking a theology. It's not a philosophy. It's not a branch of knowledge. It's a knowledge that transcends all branches. It's not a knowledge of something that you have to master. It is based totally on experience. Whose experience? Your own experience. Who else is there? Your own experience. Why is it based on your experience? Because you know you are. And that self-revealing I becomes the bread and butter upon which a whole sandwich of ideas is built. Not even ideas, the reality is built on this. So let the Srishti Chintakas, means the people who are obsessed with the cause of the world as being jada, or Kala Chintakaha, people who think everything happens in time. So they take to astronomy, astrology, some kind of a thing like that. And you know what they do? Because of this, they get all tied up. And then they just want to do everything according to the planetary arrangement. Some kind of Purva Mimamsakas, you can say, some branch of Purva Mimamsakas. Purva Mimamsakas means the people who are stuck in the first portion of the Veda. And so that is that is basically what is the um, idea. And so here, these people who have various commitments, it's a big deterrent to the study of Vedanta. For study of Vedanta, you have to get rid of these notions, because those notions coming in the first place, they are the ones, they are partisan, they are subjective, and then they do not allow you to know the reality. And how do these ideas and notions prosper? Ideas and notions prosper primarily because of the I notion connecting to them, attaching to them. That is why they prosper. And that is why he keeps saying, mind the ahankara from going awry. Take care of the ahankara. And if you take care of the ahankara, all else is taken care of. So then he says, what else does he say? So this is why he talks about this verse. So if we look at the various chintakas, Satyam Mrisha, is it real? Is it unreal? We don't say the world is unreal, but there are people, unreal vadis are there. Satyavadis are also there. Everything is real. What you see is real. So one example is Charvaka. Unreal vadis like Theravada. Theravada, what is that? Branch of Buddhism. Unreal vadis. Chid or Jadam. Chidvadis, you can say Vedantins in a way, or other branches which accept Chit as the reality, and accept that the world is sentient. And Jadavadis, certain, Nirishvara Sankhyas and all that. Dukkham Sukham Va. Dukkham means the world is sorrowful. This could be certain branches of Buddhism. The world is the cause of sorrow. We say the world is Ananda, Sukham. So out of these dyads, we have to choose. We have to choose Satyam, we have to choose Chit, and we have to choose Sukham. And when you choose these three, what do you get? Sat, Chit, Ananda. That is the idea. You see, the answers are hidden in these dyads. You just have to choose wisely. But even the fact that there is this shanka, there is this doubt that one is entertaining, that is itself a problem. Why? Because it is a mudha vivadaha, all kinds of useless disputes. And then what happens? Adrishta lokaha niraham pratitihi. Niraham pratitihi means, so when we take care of that ahankara, which is the cause, the ahankara that has firmly grabbed on to certain pet beliefs, pet ideologies, and philosophies. When we let go of that, when the person finally lets go, then what happens? Adrishta lokaha. In this, very nice compound. Adrishta lokaha, very, very lovely compound. And meaning that for whom, na drishtaha lokaha, not for whom, in which state of abidance, in which nishtha, यस्यां निष्ठायां लोकः भिन्नतया भवति इति न दृष्टः लोकः यत्र सा निष्ठा. That nishtha in which these worlds, which worlds? The worlds that we have just he has just talked about. And what has he talked about? Satyam va, Mrisha va, Chit va, Jadam va. All these worlds. And these worlds of disputes, these worlds of dyads, these worlds of conflict and strife are not there in which abidance. So that nishtha, that is what is that is what is the deciding factor. So this is adrishta lokaha niraham pratitihi. Nirgata aham pratitihi yasya sa nishtha. So these are all abiding, these are all qualifying nishtha. Adrishtalokaha, niraham pratitihi, and avikalpaha. Three words qualifying nishtha. So the first one is where and we are just seeing the meaning. We'll understand it more deeply, but first understand the meaning. So adrishta lokaha, you please don't translate as, the world is not seen. That's not the idea. In which, abiding in which reality, the world is not seen as a separate entity. That is the idea. So the reality in which when one abides, the world ceases to be separate from oneself. Niraham pratitihi, from a pratitihi, a cognition from which all pet peeves and identifications with the ahankara have departed. Niraham pratitihi. Then final adjective to to nishtha, uh, avikalpa. Avikalpa means where there is no doubt. What kind of doubt? Kimidam sat, utana, kimidam chit, utana, kimidam anandam, utana u. Meaning, so is this sat? Is this really sat? Or no? Is this chit? Am I alive? Am I aware of myself? Am I really existent or not? Oh my God, I'm panicking. Maybe I'm not existent. Maybe I'm non existent. So, what do you learn from this? Well, now I understand that even the non existent thing can panic. Okay, that is the conclusion. So, these are the doubts. Avidyamano vikalpaha yasya sa nishtha. But here it is avikalpa. So avikalpa means these kinds of vikalpas. Vikalpas means useless choices. Choices are a problem. Yeah. Choices are oppressive. Really. The more you know, the less there is to choose. So the one here, not knowing anything, he gets overwhelmed by choices. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what to choose, what to choose? What if this, what if this? And in the modern times, there is FOMO. What is FOMO? You don't know what is FOMO? OMG. FOMO means fear of missing out. FOMO. Okay. Yeah. So if I choose this, I'm not choosing that. I'm missing out on that. But if I then don't choose this, then I'm missing out on this. Oh no. Then if I choose something else, then I'm missing out on these too. And so you see, this is all because the ahankara thinks I am a finite person and therefore I can't have this, I can't have that, I can't have everything at the same time. The only way to have everything at the same time is to be everything and be timeless. That's what it is to discover oneself as timeless. Then there is no FOMO because everything that you see is you. Narada goes to Sanat Kumara in the Chandogya Upanishad chapter 7 to study this. And then, Sanat Kumara, the teacher, teaches him. Yad martyam tad alpam. Yad alpam tan martyam. That which is small is finite. Anything that is small is finite. Tanna bhuma. That is not Brahman. Here Brahman is called bhuma, which is the same, bhuma means big. It is not big because, that which is small is finite. Now, what is small here? The ahankara is small because it has defined itself as belonging to one. Ahankara means this individuality that one has crafted based on a few things that one has, based on a few ideas, etc., etc., few possessions. And so the Hankara thinks itself to be small and insecure, and that which is small is finite, it is not the infinite. And then Narada wonders, what is Bhuma then? Because everything I encounter is small. And then the teacher says, the Sanat Kumara says, Yatra na anyat pashyati, na anyat shrunoti, na anyat vijanati. Sa bhuma. What is this bhuma? Bhuma is you. And bhuma is abiding in this bhuma. Yatra meaning abiding in which? Yasmin. In which, being as which, na anyat shrunoti. Does not hear anything other than oneself. Does not na anyat pashyati. Does not see anything as different from oneself. Na anyat vijanati. Does not know anything as an object. Sabhuma. Tad vijig, tad vijignasasva in another, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, that Brahman must be understood, must be discovered, must be known. This is what is, this is what is talked about. And so the same thing here, adrishta lokaha means that all the lokas are finite. They have a begin, they are time-wise parichinnaha. Parichinnaha means defined, conditioned by time, delimited by time, space-wise parichinnatvam asti. And these lokas, there is only so maybe there is some square feet, etc., or square meters. And then what? And then you're out of that loka, then you go in that loka. So there is some kind of a spatial dimension, time wise parichinna. And then if you are in patala loka, you cannot come to bhuloka like this, object wise parichinna. So they suffer from three kinds of parichinnatvam, all kinds of limitations. And that is not bhuma. And elsewhere, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we have a very beautiful passage. In the Yajnavalkya Maitreyi dialogue, close towards the end, Yajnavalkya says, what? Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati. And see, the Shruti is even shy to say yatra hi dvaitam bhavati. It doesn't say where there is duality, where there is as though duality, because the Shruti doesn't believe that there is duality. How beautiful this is. Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati, tatra tad itara, tad itaraha itaram jigrati, itaraha itaram shrunoti, itaraha itaram manute, इतरः इतरं पश्यति, इतरः इतरं अभिवदति, इतरः इतरं विजानाति. So, what is this here? It's very easy to follow, kind of nice and rhyming. And so, yatra hi, where there is as though duality abiding between I, the Atma, and Anatma, not I. Whenever that duality is there in my head, in my view of the world, when I see, when my vision is clouded by division, then what? Tad itaraha itaram jigrati. Itaraha san itaram jigrati. So I remain separate. Itaraha san means being separate. Then what do? I go to by the garden and pluck a rose and take a nice smell of the rose. These days, roses don't have smell. Before, because it's all hybrid. But that was not the situation earlier. So now, itaraha san itaram jigrati. Itaraha san itaram shrunoti. So when I hear a noise, my head turns. Why? Because I identify as the cognizer, the recognizer of the sound, and the sound is coming from that side. It looks like a car, and you can also say it looks like a sports car. It's making a sound like a sports car because it's got some kind of a noise. And you can come to certain inferences. Itaraha san itaram shrunoti. I am the hearer, separate from the herd. Itaraha san itaram pashyati. I see this as a separate individual. Itaraha itaram manute. So I think about somebody else, something else, after when making those individuals and their ideas, etc., into an object of my thought. And then itaraha itaram abhivadati. Then I talk to somebody. Abhivadati means converse with somebody. Why do I converse? I converse because I'm separate from them. That's how I converse. Otherwise, if I'm talking to myself, then people will wonder what is wrong with you. So the conversation means there is somebody else. And so, itaraha itaram vijanati. So all knowledge that takes place is a finite knowledge because itarasan itaram vijanati. So being separate from everything else, I know small discrete things in time and place. And then what? Yatra va asya sarvam atmaiva bhut, he says, yatra vai, meaning whenever, at such time when asya, for this person, sarvam, everything is atma alone. Because of this knowledge, the person's whole demeanor has changed, and then they are saying that this is what is the atma. This is exactly what is Atma. And everything is I alone. I have understood this. Then a series of rhetorical, very beautiful portion of this Upanishad, series of rhetorical questions are asked. And then what is it that's asked? Tat kena kam jigret, kena kam pashyet, kena kam shrunuyat, kena kam abhivadet, kena kam manvita, tat kena kam vijaniyat. So then who is the one who is smelling? Who is the one who is, who is smelling what? And who is seeing whom? Who is hearing whom? Who is talking to whom? Who is coming to certain conclusions about whom or what? And who is an object of knowledge? What is an object of knowledge and what is the subject? It's all one. And again in the Ishavasya Upanishad, so two Upanishads, are there, which we have talked about. The third one is also there. This is Avikalpa. This is what is Avikalpa here. So then one more, Upanishad is there. And what is that? That is the Ishavasya Upanishad. Yatra Atmanyevabhibhut Vijanatah, for the person who knows everything as Atma alone. Tatra ko mohak kashokah ekatvam anupashyatah. For the one who sees everything as an extension of oneself, then where is the sorrow? Where is the delusion? For the one who sees oneness everywhere. And so this is how the ahankara has to be trained to drop from its tight clutched ideas of what is right, what is real, what is real, because it's holding on to the unreal and then putting a little polish on it. That is like trying to pass off something as it's not. I read one article somewhere long time back that in the Palestine Zoo, they didn't have zebras. So they got a pair of donkeys and painted white and black stripes, and they left them there. Little kind of a sanctuary. The next day after the painting, this is karma, Bhagavan. Rain came, and all the paint washed off. All the paint completely washed off, and the people were angry because they had paid money to see this zebra exhibit, and they felt, completely, what's its name, bamboozled, fooled. And so here too, this is not about this holding on to this certain realities which is not real. Holding on to that, one comes to great grief. And anything that you think comes from a place of subjectivity. Anything that you say comes from a place of subjectivity. Anything that anything that, any opinion comes from a place of subjectivity. How do you know? Because you see that as different than you. If you see everything as yourself, then there is no judgment. That's how you know. There is no judgment. Neither is there a defensive posture in order to hold on and defend what I have. That ninja stance is not there. Ah, you don't want to defend anything. There is nothing to defend because you're not offended. And that is basically, there's nothing to protect. Oh, but people are saying wrong things. This is not Vedanta. Let them say wrong things. No, but they should study. Why should they study? What is your pressure there that they should study? The whole world is going around, doing its own thing. Why do you have to make them study? Did they come to you and ask you, please be my teacher and teach me this knowledge? No, then keep quiet. If you have a pressure to teach, if you have a pressure to make everybody right thinking according to you, then it is not their problem. It is one's own problem that needs to be corrected. And that is what is accommodation and space here. And then, so then this is the whichever verse this was, fifth verse. Nishtha avikalpa. Oh, two more words. Parama akhila. Akhila, akhilaihi ishta. So it is parama, means this kind of a nishtha, this kind of an abidance in that oneness is the absolute thing that you can get out of this Vedanta study. It's a blessing, it is moksha, it is you, and it is absolute parama. And then akhilaihi ishta, regardless of whether people, akhilaihi means by everyone, by the whole universe. Ishta means desired. This nishtha is ishta by the whole world. There's a nice pun there. Nishtha, ishta. And then, so it is desired by, universally desired by everybody, regardless of whether people are actively seeking or studying Vedanta or not. This is what everybody wants. You ask anybody, people who don't even know V for Vedanta, what do you want? I want to be happy. How long you want to be happy? For 5 minutes? No, 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 forever. And how much is happiness is enough? Is this much enough? No, I want limitless happiness all the time. And so, therefore, under any conditions. And so that means it is this kind of a niraham pratiti, this kind of an understanding about I is desired by all, whether they know it or not. Meaning, even though they may not have the chance to study, you hear, oh, wonderful reader of this verse, you have the chance to study. So don't waste this. Make use of this. That is the idea. Next one. Sarupabudhirjagatīśvare ca Sarupadhīrātmani yāvadasti Arupa atma yadikah prapashyet Sadrishtirekanavadhirhi purna Sarupabudhirjagatīśvare ca Sarupadhīrātmani yāvadasti अरूप आत्मा यदि कः प्रपश्येत् सा दृष्टिरेकानवधिर्हि पूर्णा यावत् आत्मनि स्वरूपबुद्धिः जगति ईश्वरे च अस्ति यावत् स्वरूपधीः यावद् आत्मनि स्वरूपधीः अस्ति then तावत् स्वरूपबुद्धिः जगति ईश्वरे च अस्ति means what? Yavat, until which time? Atmani, with reference to the I, with reference to Atma, with reference to the I, Sarupadhihi asti. Roop, Rupaihi saha vartate iti sarupaha. That which is with all kinds of forms. Sarupaha. And then, so Rupaihi saha vartate or Rupena saha vartate, you can say, iti sarupaha. Sarupaha atma iti dhihi. Matihi. Sarupaha atma iti dhihi means this I is with form. Rupena saha vartate, that which exists with form is called Sarupa. Then this I has form. Oh, really? Yeah. Look at the mirror. I has form. I have two hands, two legs. I have a face. I have a torso. I have height. I have weight. And all these things. These are the Rupa, Sarupa. And Sarupa means what? This is what it is. This is what I am. So, Yavad Atmani, until which time, with reference to this I, Sthula Sukshma Adi Adyantam Sharira Avachinne Drashtari Sharira Sharira Param Atra Atmapadam. So, as long as this body consciousness, this body is transferred or identified as the I, and the body already is divided into three: sthula, gross body, and then what other body? Subtle body, and then causal body. People understand gross body and subtle body very easily. But this causal body, there is some kind of a haziness and confusion. Causal body doesn't mean anything other than the cause of birth. Why were you born? Don't say because I have parents. Okay, that's not the reason. That's not the reason why you were born. Then why did you have parents? I'll ask. So why were you born? Because of karma. And why this karma is there? Because Atma Jnanam is not there. As long as Atma Jnanam is not there, then karma is there. So that karma, which is the cause of the birth, that is called Karana Sharira. The Ajnanam, that Ajnanam which generates the karma for the cause of the birth, birth after birth after birth after birth, that is what is called this Karana Shariram, causal body. So here, Sarupa Buddhi Yavat Atmani Asti. So I am this threefold body. I am conditioned by time. And then I am conditioned by space. I am conditioned by this, that, etc. So then, this kind of a buddhi, as long as it is there, as long as I consider myself finite, I consider myself with shape, size, and all these things. I consider myself to be the sum total of the body, mind, senses, complex. I am the body. Of course, I am the mind. Of course, I am the senses. It's all me, 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 me. Yavatasti, until which time this Dehatma Buddhi, this I am the body, feeling, I am forms, I have a form. This kind of a Buddhi prevails, Tavat, until that time, Jagati, Ishwareja, Sarupa Buddhi, Jagat Sarupam, ईश्वरः स्वरूपः इति बुद्धिः भवति एव. Meaning, until which time I consider myself as formed, I can never appreciate Ishvara as formless. Why? Because you are Ishvara. Simple. So, it's an inside job as far as Vedanta goes. You don't worry about the Jagat, whether it has form or not. You don't worry about Ishvara, whether Ishvara has form or not. You worry about yourself. Do you have form? Why, yes. Okay. Okay, wrong answer. Try again. Do you have form? I think so. I'm talking, aren't I? Okay, try again. Do you have form? I know this is very, very difficult right now. That's exactly the place. Do you have form? When the answer comes, no, I am formless. But of course, you're saying it with a straight face and you're talking. So there is a contradiction of sorts, but it is an as though contradiction. Contradiction, eva contradiction. So it's not really a contradiction, because that which is talking, that which is interacting, is on a different plane than where this question is being asked. So where this question is being asked is paramarthatah, from the standpoint of the absolute, the paramarthika satta. So this vyavahara is there. This vyavahara reality, the transactional reality, does not come in the way of understanding oneself as the absolute. Simply because the two are not opposed to one another really. Only one is. Only the absolute reality is, and the projected reality, which is the transactional reality, the empirical reality, whatever you want to call it, is fun as long as you know that it is dependent on the paramarthika. So it is fun. You can even have fun being sad. You can say, oh, Satchidananda today is giving a lot of tears. You can have fun if you know it. If you don't know it, it's the most miserable thing. It's the most miserable thing, because along with that comes resistance, non acceptance, etc., etc., etc. But here, there is no misery possible because of the Ananda Swarupa of the Atma. And to understand Atma as this is Saddarshanam, to understand Atma as Satchidananda, then it should be essentially formless. And who is this it? It is I. And then, so if the I is when one understands the I as formless, nameless, then it is very easy to understand the Jagat as nameless, formless. It's very easy to understand Ishvara as nameless and formless. And so, therefore, this is the idea. And so, let's understand these two lines first. So, Yavat, until which time, Atmani, in the with reference to the I, Sarupadhihi Asti, until which time the buddhi, the thinking, the conviction that I have form, I am a formed person, I am with form, this kind of a thinking prevails. Then we have to add a few words. Because this is poetry, it has not been added, it has been assumed. So, tavat sarupa buddhihi jagati ishvarecha, and this asti we have to borrow it from the second line and bring it up. Asti. Tavat, until which time? Yavat, and then tavat is understood. Tavat, until that time, the same buddhi, the same mentality of division with regard to Ishvara and with regard to the Jagat also prevails. Now, we'll just look at the words and then understand the meaning tomorrow. Arupaha Atma yadi. If the Atma is understood as formless, who is the witness of this formlessness? Can formlessness be objectified? No. And so, if formlessness cannot be objectified, then who is saying I am formless? Kaf prapashyet. Who is the one who is the witness? There is no witness remaining. This is the knowledge that knocks off the knower. Here is what is happening. The knower is being knocked off. And then sa drishtihi eka. That alone is called the vision. Anavadhihi. 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 He means because. Why is it called eka? It is called eka because it's anavadhihi. It does not come to an end. And therefore, purna, full, complete, limitless. That is what this drishti is. So, what this drishti is and how to understand it more, we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
Thank you so much.